Welcome back, Warriors. We are here at the Quality of Life Changes segment. Joined with me are MC and Catherine. How you both doing?
MC.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
very
Thanks
excited.
for having us.
Of
for the
course.
quality of life improvement.
I love quality of life changes.
We do too.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? But yeah, let's just jump right.
Forward
right
dodge is
into
where the
what sort
option
of
select
stuff
was
has the
at,
UI
yeah.
team been cooking.
Yeah, so the biggest changes, we have completely overhauled the multiplayer menu section. So
What the?
this is now the one-stop shop for all your PvP needs.
Oh, wow. You no longer have to go to, like,
with
on the map
main
itself. I'm going to miss that,
categories
actually.
being events, where you'll have like Bound by Blood, of course. There will be the team category for every game mode that
Oh, that's...
you have
Man, I'm
a
going to miss the
partner.
old one.
So
Yeah,
Brawl
I
is
like
in there
the
with
map.
Dominion and Breach and Deathmatch.
Nice.
And then we have Duel for all your duel needs. So a category if you want to play alone. And finally, if there is a training ground, which there is very often, training ground will also have its own category where you'll find all these changes that you need to test to make GC happy. And of course, we've moved custom match into this menu. So if you want to play, whether it's private or matchmaking, you go there. And then we've also improved the activity selection. So this is where you go pick your game mode. There's more information that's clearer.
This part's
and then
easier. I will say
with
that
the
for sure.
we also improved the parameter screen. Before you would go like to the activity section screen and you would change PvP to PvI, and then you would have to go in parameters to change the matchmaking and all that jazz. Now it's all in one screen. One screen.
Nice.
You change your PvP, you change your matchmaking, you can set your preferred game mode for skirmish or elimination.
This part's better,
And
but
we've also kept the
gonna miss the
information of the
map.
modifiers and the maps. But we've also, when you matchmake, there was like
Story
stats
and
for your
Arcade
game
are
mode,
both together
and you
now.
couldn't see them anywhere else.
Quick match.
They're in the
spin.
parameter screen now.
Nice. Okay.
And all of these changes
Maybe let's
are
get more
not
people to
just
play the
because
other
we felt
modes.
like it. This is really to improve user and accessibility. There were some technical requirements for us to have a snap here faster menu. That's all back-end stuff. But for you players, that means that this menu opens quick.
Nice.
It's just an overlay that opens as soon as you click on it.
Nice.
That's good,
And
though.
also, before you're like, oh, the map's gone, Faction War is still there, people. Same shortcut. You'll have notifications on the multiplayer level, like with the widget and the legend. You'll have notifications to say if there's an update, if you have rewards to go get. And you won't get assaulted by pop-ups as soon as you open the multiplayer section, is what I want to say. And this is the gist of the changes. Much easier menu. It's the look and feel is unified with like other sections like custom match. So it's really easy to navigate.
It's much more streamlined. All of it.
I don't know if I like this or not.
And
But I think we're used to
opens
it.
quicker. And also like the front used to move according to Faction War. Now Dominion will be in the same spot
Okay.
forever. You'll know how to find Dominion, I promise. And all these changes enabled us to do other extra side improvements that you will notice everywhere. For example, by reorganizing a lot of the multiplayer section, it freed up some space on the landing page where you will find the brand new quick match
Dev
button.
cheats. Oh, never mind.
So this button will send you to your last played permanent game mode. You play Duel, it'll send you into Duel. You play Dominion, it'll send you into Dominion.
So I'm
If
blocking
we
some
have
of
a
this
special
here.
game mode like Bound by Blood, it will still have its own quick match up top. But this new quick match option will be there permanently to launch yourself, to yeet yourself into matchmaking as soon as you can. You open the game, you can yeet yourself.
I mean, that's good. I like the quick match option there.
And another improvement is orders. Now, when you're in the multiplayer section, you'll notice that 2 triggers will open your 2 menus, Faction War and Orders. So we moved Orders to the other trigger button, left trigger for Xbox, L2 for PlayStation. If you're on PC, Y. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so these are quick to access. Engage
That
with the Faction
laugh,
War,
my
equip your orders.
God.
Folks, that's how you get steel.
Nice.
That's how you get extra XP. Scavenger's great. It's very important. Yes. And finally, because we were looking at the faction war. We noticed how the out-of-date our tutorial video was. So this is for the first time players that come to this section. We have a brand new tutorial screen, much
Nice.
easier and quicker to read, to engage with. Depending on which faction you chose, the art changes a bit. This is more like a small detail, but when we make these kinds of changes, we make them with a lot of intention, and we look at everything. And if
Well, it's
there's
good. There's
extra
actually a
stuff
tutorial
that we can
showing
do
people
to
how
make
it actually
even
works now.
better for players, we try to do that.
Nice. And those animations, that's you're actually doing that stuff.
I hand animated this in Engine, yes.
Nice. Super awesome.
Nice.
Well, thank you for breaking all that down. We also have some improvements that we mentioned earlier, but it has to do with the customization. And MC, do you want to talk more about it?
Indeed, because that's not all. We're just piling and piling and piling down
Bring
on
'em
our
over.
quality of life improvement. So the first one, and I've seen a bunch of comments already about that, we added more loadouts.
Ooh, let's
What?
go.
Yeah, 9 loadouts.
So we
is
went
so
from
nice.
3 to 9 loadouts.
Wow.
So loadouts 2 and 3 still unlock at rep 1. And then additional loadouts unlock every time you rep up, which means at rep
This is
7,
great.
you have 9 loadouts.
Wow.
So many loadouts to put so many fashion.
Nice. So if you are like rep 80, you'll have 9 loadout slots.
All of
Yeah.
them.
Sweet.
For rep 8, you'll have all of them.
Nice.
Another improvement we've made is that we can now override the applied material per body part. So as you can see, we can now create a rainbow.
Oh.
This is great.
And so the base material applies
This is so
everywhere,
good.
and override isn't specified.
Okay.
So this actually replaces the usage feature. The usage feature would let you apply the selected material or not on the body part. So now each body part can have its own material independently.
This is
So as
really,
you can
really
see,
so
again,
many,
we're,
so much
we're
potential
making
for
Andrew
fashion
happy.
now.
It's the third time I know he's not appearing. I'm sorry. And last but not least, the equip for all option. So for mood effects. So quick
Oh my
question,
God, this
and
is
it's
so
not
nice.
rehearsed at all.
This is so
Do you know
good.
how many buttons were needed to be pressed to equip the same mood effects on all slots?
10?
This is so
Okay,
good.
Catherine?
I'm going to say 12.
This is a
I'm
much
gonna
needed
go
change.
with 25.
That is way too much.
What? So this quality of life improvement now makes you have a mood effects unlocked for more than one category. So amongst idle, execution, and emote. And you can now equip all available slots with one single button. So from 25 manipulation to 1, we're changing stuff
That's-
here.
There's a math joke to be had here, but I'm not quite with it.
Yeah,
so-
we're not.
I do art. You can't
Right.
expect math.
That's it. I don't manage math, I manage art.
Exactly. That's super cool changes.
They're
But we
nerds.
also have some more quality of life
Nerds are awesome,
improvements that we want to go over.
Yes, so some smaller improvements that we've added. When you have network performance issue, we would show icons in the corner. But what do they mean? Now you know.
Okay.
We added a legend in the interactive scoreboard. So this is the
Really?
scoreboard you can open quickly.
It's going to always have that there? That's kind of annoying, actually.
Very nice.
I don't know if I like that.
And of course, we've added a numerical cooldown to your feats.
Okay.
So if you spam feat
Oh.
4 and you pop it too early, now you will see exactly how long you can.
I
really
kind of
useful.
like that.
Again.
I hope
Yes.
it's optional.
Nice.
I kind of like the old school, but
So
but having
those
a
are the
number
two
is good.
improvements we've added to the in-game hub.
Very cool. And something else that we're adding is smart mode. So this is really going to be building off of eco mode, which we implemented last year. So essentially, this will be on by default in the next title update. So what smart mode is essentially is it's only active in the menus. Basically, if you are AFK for a certain amount of time, all your graphics will be turned down to low. And then as soon as you come back, the graphics will return to exactly what you initially set them to.
I love
as.
that,
So
dude. Just little things like that are so great.
boost it all the way up to max settings, they'll return to that.
Yes.
But thank you both so much. Do you wanna give any shout outs or
We actually do want to give a big shout out. Catherine are the representative today for the UI team, but we're not the only one. And so we wanted to give a shout out to our wonderful team that you see on the screen. My partner Pascal,
Shout out to all of
Mahev,
them.
who's our amazing UI artist, Michelle and John, our amazing programmer. And we wouldn't be anything without quality control.
Yeah.
So Andre and Dara. So thank you a lot. Thanks
I
to
love
the
that
amazing team.
recognition, man.
Amazing.
Love recognition.
Thank you both so much.
So, JC, we got some fun stuff today.
Yeah, yeah, and I got my trusty
You got your
clicker,
trusty
so I can
clicker.
go through the slides and tell people that they're going to be happy.
It's
There you
So,
go.
quicker.
All right, let's do this.
patch
gonna
notes
go back down here.
for this title update. So let us start with, I think, somebody that people have been asking for a little bit.
What's that?
Some Sohei changes.
Oh.
So just to go over
Oh
them,
my
like,
God,
basically the
finally.
philosophy we're going with Sohei is the hero's been out for a little bit.
Mhm.
We've gotten a lot of feedback. We've been looking at the data quite a
Oh,
bit
and they
as well.
fixed the chain. They
And
fixed the
what
GB vulnerability on the zone.
The conclusion we came
Good.
to is that the restrictions that we put on Sohei initially, right, where you had to do light or heavy,
Mhm.
that was very intentional in a way that we wanted to create a hero that felt a little bit different, but also that was more reminiscent of like older heroes, getting to a bit of that nostalgia aspect a bit, but also because we want to be really conservative with how you gain souls.
So definite
how you
nerf
get
to the
access
zone
to
now, which
your-
is
to your,
good.
like,
It needed
crazy
that.
move. So the idea here is really
Oh, wait, I'm covering
opening
JC.
up Sohei's flow
Yeah.
to make that work better. Now, this is the first time we're trying this. The mic is not working well,
Yeah, his mic's messing up.
so I have a better mic now. I'm hoping. I don't know how much got cut out, but basically, yeah. So we want to change Sohei's flow so that works a little bit better. I'll get rid of
Yeah,
this.
Mad Monk's the zone.
Thank you. All right. So, Sohei's flow, yeah. So we wanted to make sure that it flows a little bit better. It's more interesting, works better. So really, like what we've been doing is, so now the opener lights, including dodge attacks, can now chain into heavy soul attacks. Same for heavy openers; they can go into chain light soul
I
attacks.
think that's good.
So from
It's good changes.
front dodge, side dodge, whatever you're doing, the follow-ups to your bash, everything goes into anything there. So that's great.
Nice.
Mad Monk can now also chain to Mad Monk extender, so you can go funny helicopter zone. Great. We've also changed the chain link timing to all heavy soul attacks from Mad Monk and Mad Monk extender. We've shortened it by 1 frame.
Mhm.
And so what that means is that before, when you did Mad Monk into a heavy soul finisher, heavy soul attack rather, what ended up happening is that if your opponent mashed a light, they would trade on the exact same frame.
Mm.
So you would get your soul as a Sohei, so you'd be moderately
I
happy
didn't know
because
that.
you got a soul. But at the same time, your flow stopped entirely.
Yeah.
With this, if you buffer your attacks, everything goes well, you will not lose your momentum and you can keep going. So it's because it is part of Sohei's issues of losing momentum and always going back to neutral. So that's a big part
You
of
should
it.
still be able to trade
And
on frame negative.
last but
You
not
just won't be the
least,
guard break.
Mad Monk is massively overperforming. We were kind of okay with it because the restrictions on flows on Sohei and getting souls was super difficult. But we've now reverted the guard break vulnerability on Mad Monk to be 433 MS instead of 100. So you can no longer throw out Mad Monk, hoping you'll trade with somebody, feint at the guard break, getting guaranteed guard break, get 3 souls. That was like a really easy way of getting souls, where it's not like that was not necessarily the full intention of this. Ended up working this way, but we're nerfing that a little bit to compensate for the other massive buffs that he has.
Good changes.
Again, we're going to keep an eye on the data, keep an eye on how players play with Sohei, see where that goes, and do more adjustments.
Yeah,
if
isn't
needed,
still the
right?
only
So
infinite.
there's
That's-
a lot of
that's
stuff that
fine.
I know people
Just
are
the
playing
chain
are
extender is all it
talking
is.
about, right? In regards to damage, maybe the damage on the 7-4 strike is
Kinda like
too
how,
high, maybe damage on the
A
other
few
attacks is
users
too
are,
low.
flipped
It's
to extend
things that
his
we're
is the
looking
zone.
at to make sure that okay, yeah. So thing that we're looking at to make sure that like the hero is balanced and is fun to play and works really well. So that's
Finisher
kind
to
of the
finisher
idea
to
here.
finisher.
For
Love-
Sohei, but
I love
this is the
Burger has
first step
that.
we're taking. We'll see how it pans
I
out
read
and
as
see where
well.
it goes.
Nice. Awesome.
Next, we have some changes for Aramusha. So
Oh.
Aramusha has been kind of left in the dust a little bit.
Oh my god.
Not necessarily because the
expecting
hero is
this.
bad, but just because the other heroes have gotten like a lot of big buffs, a lot of changes. So we really wanted to have a quick look at Aramusha to see what can we do to make the hero more competitive. It doesn't mean that he's going to shoot up the top of the tier list, but we wanted to make the hero more competitive so that it's more playable. Like it's a bit more accessible, but also you have a bit more fun when you're playing him,
This
right?
is good.
So the first big change is that heavy finishers
Zone
are now
second hit can access
unblockable.
deadly feints.
So just a quick reminder, to access your heavy finishers, you have to do 2 attacks. You have to do like an attack and then a second one in the exact same stance, and then that's how you access your heavy finishers. Now, Aramusha's heavy finishers have what's called deadly feints, which means you can soft feint into 400 MS lights in other stances.
Right.
The problem was that you kind of had to do it. that heavy was not threatening at all. There was no pressure from it. So by making it unblockable, now you have a lot more pressure you can apply, right? You
Wonder
can
if it's gonna be
either
any
let that
slower.
unblockable fly.
It's gonna be scary in
Hopefully your
a
opponent is going to read that you're going to like
target
change
swap
into a light in
situation.
another stance and try to parry it or
it does
block
like
it or
30 some
whatever.
damage, I think.
And then you get a nice big chunk of damage. You can keep your chain going by using deadly feints. So really, this is about pressure from Aramusha to let him use his tools more effectively, right?
There's
It's
such
a
good
small
changes.
change, but it makes a big difference. Now, the second aspect of here that we're doing as well is that the second hit from his zone attack can now access deadly feints as well, which is super interesting. So you can do zone attack, and then the idea here is that essentially when Aramusha has an unblockable attack with his weapons, then you can deadly feint, right? So this is how it works.
This is good.
So zone attack, first hit, then you go second hit, softening the deadly feints again, extends your chain, you get into stuff really well, so that's really good. Again,
damage
gives
is
them
probably gonna
more
stay the
options,
same. I don't see
more
why it
reasons
would
to do
change.
some of these attacks. That works quite well.
Nice.
We've also, as a bit of quality of life stuff that we've done on a hero, we've increased the forward movement on all of his heavy openers, all of his heavy finishers, and all of his infinite chain lights.
Yeah,
Aramusha suffered there a little bit where he
clear.
was very, very immobile. So you would throw attacks, you could barely move forward. It was really, really difficult to hit people. So this is a big thing that we've increased the movement there to give him more reach. It's a lot easier in group fights as well. You can target swap and hit other people. Before it was like very, very difficult because it was very little forward movement. That wasn't the original hero intent, by the way, that the designer, who is no longer working on For Honor, but the guy who was working on Aramusha initially wanted to have a kind of like really tanky, immobile hero that had like fast dodges, had super fast side dodge recoveries. Everything was kind of baked in to have that sort of feeling of
That's exactly how he
bursts of speed, but very, very low movement. And as the game evolved, that doesn't necessarily work as well as it did. So we're doing these kinds of changes. We've also adjusted the weapon trajectories to match the weapon visuals better on every single one of his attacks. So again, they have a bit more range in general. So if things look like they should be able to hit, they're going to hit now. So it all goes into the increased forward movement when you do your attacks as well, to be able to hit people better externally. And even like when you're locked onto people and you're target swapping, it gets a bit easier. And then last but not least, we've also increased the attack range on Ring the Bell. So basically,
Ring the Bell is already decent.
by
but it's
attack
gonna be
range,
really good
I mean,
now.
it's not necessarily just for movement, but it's more at what distance are you going to register that the attack is going to land. And so we've increased that enough so that it's not like egregious where you can just like, be from super far and like land it, but it's high enough that target swapping it now is actually viable. They still need to be pretty close.
That's
but
good.
It is viable. Before it was borderline impossible unless they were like really locked onto you and they were walking towards you and couldn't walk forward anymore. Then you could kind of do it. Now you're gonna have a bit more leeway into when you can target swap, Ring the Bell, and have like that.
Target swap
specific
unblockable
one.
heavy finisher is going to be gross.
And then last but not least, Pirate. So it's
a
one
nerf.
line, but it's a big one.
Yeah.
So Grand Cavalier can no longer cancel its recovery with a dodge. So that's side dodge heavies specifically.
Side dodge
So
attack
I'll explain
spam,
here because,
no longer possible.
It's a bit different than what we've been doing
Oh my
with
God,
Berserker
that's gonna feel
and
so
with
awful.
Orochi, right? So Berserker and Orochi, we removed the enhanced property on their side dodge lights. And that made sense, right? So you can still do them. You can still do that sort of stuff. You can still target swap. You can still go into your dodge recoveries. And it works. It's a significant nerf. And I know some people wanted to have this functionality instead. But we went a different way. And it made more sense for them because they were light attacks.
Right.
In Pirate's case, the problem is that if we make it not enhanced anymore, then it breaks the rules of heavy attacks.
This is
in
the side
general
dodge heavy.
For Honor, right? Every
Right.
attacks
The
are
dodge
always
attack.
enhanced, and we don't want to have like that weird inconsistency that doesn't make any sense. If and also the other thing is like we could have switched the input to a light as well and go with side dodge lights instead. So now they're no longer enhanced and it works. But then that affects Pirate in another bad way because then you can't use your gunshots after your side dodge attacks.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's a lot of knock-on effects as to if we change this aspect, this problem pops up. If we change that aspect, that problem pops
I think
up.
it's going to affect it
And
too
so
much in duels.
Ultimately, we
Mostly-
removed the ability to recovery cancel with a dodge
mostly
entirely, but only for
4v4
that
issue.
attack. So Pirate is still good. You can still do a lot of what you were doing before. You just can't just go spinny top constantly and have it. So it's
I'm gonna miss that.
the one issue with this, and this is what I know. That's why I'm going to be curious to see how it works. But I know players are doing, they're being aggressive by you side dodge, target swap into the attack, and then it makes your attacks really, really, really safe. And then you can re-target swap to the person that you hit, but that was not able to parry you because you were not locked onto them and go into your chain pressure. So it's a lot of complicated things. That'll still be able to happen with Pirate, but at the very least, like the hero is impacted where there's we've done a change where there's the most impact, but at the same time, it's different than what we did for Orochi and Berserker. So it'll also let us compare the effectiveness of those nerfs and see where we can go from there.
Nice.
So that's it for patch notes.
Cool.
That's really short.